Hey guys, welcome back to the show. In today's episode, once again, we have a really special guest with us today. Some of you may already know her from her music, like I Don't Get Breakups. This is Busy. Hi, Busy. How are
Hey,
you today?
I'm so good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. So please introduce yourself and maybe talk a little bit about your latest single.
Yeah, so my name is Busy. I live in Nashville, singer-songwriter, and my song I Really Like This Part just came out on July 18th.
Yeah, so please tell us a little bit more, like what was the process like when you were writing the song for you?
Yeah, so I wrote this song probably a year and a half ago, and at the time I was dating this guy, and it was just the very beginning of us dating, so everything was so like magical and giddy, and like we were still kind of just like learning each other. So when I went into this session, I wrote the song with Brett Truitt and Spencer Jordan, who are just like amazing talents on their own. Um, but I went into the session having the first verse written because I had like gotten dropped off from a date the night before and I was like all giddy about it. So I just like kind of wrote some of the verse and then came into the session and was like, I'm in love with this guy. We just started dating and basically just made it this whole therapy session for like 2 hours before we wrote the song. And then the song like honestly fell out in like an hour. And I just fell in love with it like from the second we wrote it, which sometimes doesn't happen for me. Sometimes I'll write a song and be like, yeah, I hate that song. And then a year later, I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty good. But this one, like immediately I knew I was like head over heels for the song. So it was a really, really fun process.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think obviously, like, every singer-songwriter has a different process for each song that they write. Like, process you may have had for this one versus I Don't Get Breakups must have been different. So kind of like contrasting and like, I Don't Get Breakups was more like, a more like, I guess, unhinged song, I guess, because it was like I don't get
Totally.
breakups and it was just like, talking about how you generally feel like you're better than these guys. And so, what was the lyric process like? Like when you're writing the lyrics, do you feel like you are more guarded and more engaged with I really like this part, or do you think it was similar to I don't like breakups and the other songs you've written?
I think it's completely like based on my mindset. Like with I really like this part, I was in such like a lover era. So I was just like butterflies and sparkles and rainbows like was all on my mind. So it was so easy to write the lyrics that came with it. Um because the way that I write is just from like a diary standpoint. It's basically me just like blurting out my feelings so I can process them and then if I like the song enough, I'll release it. But it's definitely the only reason I write is purely to like kind of understand my own emotions. So when I was writing I Don't Get Breakups, it was coming from like fresh off a breakup and not understanding what was happening and how things were panning out and why they worked the way they worked. Whereas when I wrote I really like this part, I was just completely giddy and excited about this new relationship.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best part of music again is that you can express whatever emotion you want. Like even I really like this part. You could have written it in a completely negative tone if you wanted to, if that's what you're going with. And I really like this part could be more like, oh, I just like this part, but the rest of it was bad, and that could be the song.
Totally.
Versus it being like, oh, I really like this part as in like the portion of like falling in love and meeting the person and all of that.
Yep, absolutely. It's all dependent on your mindset. And that's what I love about it too, because once it comes out to the listeners, they can take it however they want. They can make it their own and interpret it and put their own like movie behind the song, which I've always done with my favorite artists. So it's exciting.
Definitely. And speaking of which, like, who has been like kind of your musical inspirations for just not just this song, but just in general for you?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. I always say my two biggest ones are Julia Michaels and Taylor Swift. They've been like such influences. Like Taylor Swift just purely like setting the path of like becoming an artist when she was 15 and playing guitar and just doing the whole thing and becoming the success that she is. And following her journey has been such a interesting and like learning. I look at her as like almost like an older sister to like learn the music industry. And then with Julie Michaels, I respect her songwriting so much and the way that she can shapeshift into other artists and like write a song for Tate McRae and then write like a country song with Morgan Wallen and just things that are so polar opposite, but yet she is able to like exceed the excellence with any genre that she tries. So those are like my two biggest influence.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, I feel like with Taylor Swift and Julia Michaels, I can honestly see the influences in your music, like Spinach in My Teeth. And
Honored.
like the lyrics are just like very like deep and personal, but then you can also, again, as you said, build a story around it the way you want to as a listener. But then
Totally.
also, like, as a writer, like if you're a singer-songwriter, listen to another singer-songwriter's music, you can be like, oh well, this line was really cute, I really like this, let me see how I can implement that sort of lyricism in my own song without
Yep.
obviously copying the lyric.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to, like, collaborating with artists and collaborating with producers, obviously, to make your music, what kind of goes into the building process? Like, what makes you be like, yes, this is the person I want to work with?
It's a lot of trial and error. That is one thing that is great and not so great about co-writing is that it's like blind dates. When you've never worked with someone, you're really like going into this, and usually it's like your publicist or your publisher or like manager that have set the rights up. So all you know is their name and some songs that they've worked on. And so you walk into the session, and if you're the artist, you're the one that's like usually bringing the concept or basically bringing your life story in. So it's usually me and maybe two other people. And it's a lot of, hey, my name's Busy. What's your name? They tell me their name, and then we just sit there and literally I pour my guts out. So it's a lot of blind dates, and sometimes people take to it really well, and sometimes you're like, and I'm never gonna write with that person again. Like no bad blood in any way, but the weird thing about music is it's so personal, but it also is a business. So that there's such a weird kind of tie to is like, yeah, I'm walking in and telling these people my entire life story, my sob story, whatever breakup I'm going through, but then I could literally never work with them again. So it's just a very odd kind of thing. But it also is like the coolest thing once you kind of wrap your head around and see that it's like, it is a business. It's not something to be taken personally. It's just who do you connect with the most and how can you get the best songs?
For sure. I mean, it's on, as you said, like blind dates usually are like you don't know the person before you meet them. It's either a yes or a no. So do you usually get like a chance to say, like, after trying to work with them a little bit, do you get the chance to say like, oh, I don't really like the way this is working out. Maybe we could try something else or try a different person. Does that ever happen?
Oh, for sure. It's like a constant trade out. I feel like I write with the same like six people that are like locked into my schedule that I adore and never will not write with. And then the rest are just like a revolving door of like people that I'm trying and will hopefully add into my like locked in six people. But it's just good. It's also just like an exercise. Like you're just constantly like you're writing and you're opening up your heart and emotions to other people. And that's like a hard thing to do. It's a muscle that needs to be worked. And so the more opportunities you get, the better you're going to get at it, even if it's uncomfortable. And just like sitting in that and being like, yeah, this might be the worst write of my life, but I'm going to write it and I'll be better for it because I can sit through this write and either get a really good song out of it or I can pout through it and get a bad song.
Yeah, and also like, kind of going into like how you said, it's like a kind of a process. It's like a circle of like you try something, it doesn't work out, you try another thing. And does that ever like get to you in the point where like you feel like you just want to give up the song altogether?
Oh, for sure. There's been writes where like I'll go in and I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be great. I leave the write. I'm like, so I'm quitting music. I'm literally moving to another country. I hate this. So like it can be very emotional, but I think being able to talk to about it with like other songwriter friends who are like, dude, I had a quit music day the other day and it's fine. Like you'll get through it. It's just like commiserating and then also laughing it off.
Definitely. That's also like the thing about music, right? It's very like there's no set linear process. Not like if you hit like 100 million or 100 million, 100,000 streams, it's like, oh, it's the make or break type thing. Versus if you get 20 streams, it's kind of just like whatever happens, happens, because it's not really like set in stone as to what defines success in music.
Totally. And there's no right or wrong path as to how to get to where you're trying to go.
So speaking of which, like what really like denotes like your version of success when it comes to music?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think there's a lot of versions of success I have in my mind. Like success to me is literally just writing a good song. That is like there is no other kind of high like that feeling when I get out of a session and I'm like, I fucking love that song. It's so good. Or like I'm in my room and I write a song by myself. There is literally no I could like rot on my couch for 2 weeks after that because I'm like, yeah, I wrote a good song. Like there is no other better feeling. So that is like such a pinnacle of success for me. And there's like I think there's just so many different facets of success. Like just writing good music that is speaks to my soul and that is true to me is like the number one point of success for me. I think that has to be the base level of anything I do in music because what's the point if not for me at least. And then of course there's goals that I have of like, yes, I want to be playing in arenas, and yes, I want to be like having so many listeners and on the radio and all these things, but the bottom line is like good music. I think that's the bar that I will always set as success. And then everything else that comes from that is like goals and achievements that I have. But success is good music.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that makes sense too, right? Because the music is kind of like, sure, like the listeners will come once the music is there, I feel.
Yeah.
And like you kind of just have to like have the bass line. It's almost like, I said this in, I think it was the interview I had with Felicity, but we talked about kind of how you need to know the foundations first before you can jump onto like the big stuff. Like you need to know
It,
your alphabets before you can write sentences and start speaking.
it's everything. Yep. 1,000%. It's so easy to get carried away in the other crap, like so quickly and so distracted. But like, and like I do that all the time, but like coming back to the music is like the most important thing for me.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of like, a lot of your songs like usually have like this like, with I don't get breakups, it was about like a breakup. With this one, it's about falling in love. So kind of what do you think is like, I guess maybe first you could talk about like the toxic traits that you find to be the kind of songs that you write. Like if you're basically if your song was a toxic trait, what would it be? And if it was like a good trait, what would it be, essentially?
Okay, wait, I don't fully understand it. Can you ask that again?
So like if your song was a toxic trait in a person, what would it be?
Okay, like one of them or all of them?
One of them.
Okay. Toxic trait in a song. Wait, I think I'm still confused.
So kind of like basically like, when you like for example, let's just take I don't get breakups, for example. Like if
Sure.
that song was like a toxic trait, like if that song embodied like some kind of toxic trait, what do you think it would be?
Oh, sure. Like the message it's sending is a toxic trait, you mean?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, that one, I don't know. Toxic trait in. I think the thing with my songs is that I'm usually like working out my issues. So like I guess I don't get breakups would just be like me being like I don't know if there is a toxic trait in it. It's more me talking about the toxic trait that I don't get or breakups is. Like in my
I
mind,
see.
it's like breakups literally don't make sense to me. I could go on a 7 hour tangent because it's like as humans, we connect with someone on such a deep level and you spend so many waking hours with this person and then all of a sudden it just ends. And like the ending is so like not natural and not a human level. And so that is the toxic thing that was so confusing to me about a breakup. And so that's kind of where it stemmed from.
Yeah. Yeah. The kind of okay, so I guess I kind of talked about this, but this is kind of like, like the last part is like, what advice do you have for a singer-songwriter who's just starting up and like, trying to produce and make music?
Oh my God. Give me everyone's advice because shit, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's so different and so unique for each person. And the thing that, like, I guess the advice, I don't even know if it's really advice. It's just like something that I hold on to is that no one knows what the fuck they're doing. And that is something comforting and terrifying at the same time. But like, knowing that, like, just put yourself out there, like, do it again and again and again until you feel like dumber than hell. But like, just keep doing it because eventually something will stick and people will feel what you're feeling and like just keep writing. Like I think it's just the keep on because that's how, at least for me, that's how I've like been able to like keep kind of overcoming hurdles is just like, okay, what's next? What's next? How can I focus? How can I get better? How can I whatever achieve? Um, I just kind of rambled there, but I think it's just a lot of like nobody knows what they're doing and you're doing great kind of thing. You just got to keep on going.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think that main thing that you just said, like, no one knows what they're doing. You have to keep trying. That kind of mentality just kind of follows through with anything that we do, whether it be music or something
Totally.
else. I think, you know,
Totally.
the advice that comes from you or Felicity or whoever is from your experiences and from what you think is what everyone should know. Like
Yeah.
everyone has different advice, same thing sometimes, but it's very rare to have like the same advice because you're talking from your lived experiences.
Totally. It's almost so interesting to know. Like, I feel like there is so much similar, same advice that comes from artists because yes, we're going through the similar, like, or different experiences, but everyone is going through such similar, like, hardships and moments. that like the music business has to offer, which like is great and challenging at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for being on the show today. I had a great time chatting with you.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This was so great.
Yeah, so everyone listening to this episode, be sure to check out Daisy's new single, I Really Like This Part. It's out now. So,
Yes.
Busy, do you have any last words for the audience to keep in mind while listening to your song?
Um, just think of like butterflies and rainbows and catching them in a jar like fireflies, because that's what I do.
That's awesome. So, anyways, thank you everyone for listening. And again, as I said earlier, do check out her new single, I Really Like This Part, on Spotify and all other streaming platforms. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next month.